Joe's Garage. This is an '01 PT Cruiser, and '01 PT Cruisers don't have anything over here in the A post. Alright. It's has tilt column, and evidently the car its entire life, every time you tilt the column, even though I got this with 64,000 miles, I got 83 now. But this shit went out, before I had to change the oil. I lost cruise control, then I lost my fog lights, and I lost my horn. That don't work. There's no horn. What's next? As you tilt the column, it's rubbing on a harness in there. And I think that's got to be it, because as you tilt the column, the lights on the dash go flicker on and off. All the bells and whistles start working, then they don't. And even though we read the codes and I used all dealer parts to no avail, I spent over $500. I spent $500 on the cruise control alone. I was over $200 for it was like $200 for the switch. Another couple $100 I haven't put it in. I let them do it. Nothing. Still don't work. Then we changed 4 relays. Still don't work. I exploded 2 brand new radiators and fans. Everything destroyed. I'm lucky that the air plenum survived, and the motor itself survived. It almost killed me one time. And if something was wrong, I opened the hood, I looked like this, I got my face right over here. And then I got up, and just maybe 5 seconds at most elapsed, and kaboom! The frickin' thing exploded. It was a lot of money. And I had to do the work myself. I mean, we're talking like $500 every time this shit like this happens. Gotta replace this, that, the other thing, hoses, a radiator and a fan. It's a lot of money. And it happened 2 times in a row, because this thing's got wiring, it's got electrical problems. And this is how, I got like 10 grand in the car. I literally got 10 grand in this car. And this is how I got the car to, I'm going to be able to keep using my car. You see, I got 2 red switches. The fan has 2 coils. One is, I've had them all hooked up to one switch, which ain't right. It ain't right, but I couldn't get another switch. Now I finally got another switch. It's going to be hooked up right when I'm done. But, it's all jury rigging. See, I got to keep my eye. I got an aftermarket temperature and oil pressure, which is not hooked up. I couldn't figure out how to hook it up without messing the car up further, so I didn't. It's just sitting there. But the voltage is hooked up and the temperature is hooked up. So I keep an eye on the temperature, because the stock one doesn't always work. And when it doesn't work, we explode. The engine explodes. The radiator explodes every time. And it's not going to happen again. I've been doing it manually. I have to constantly, every minute or two, especially in this hot weather, keep an eye on that gauge. Hit the fan when needed. I mean, the AC still works, thank God. Doesn't need. I just did 3,000 miles ago. We did I did the motor belt. The timing belt in the motor. So it's got a brand new timing belt and everything. This car should go another 80,000 miles before it needs any major service. But because it's developed a number of electrical problems. And the city of Stanford, man, I don't go far from home base. Like a couple times a month I drive it to Greenwich. you know, or 4 times a month at most. You know, maybe 3-4 times a week. I gotta come to Glenbrook and go back to the Cove. I only put 18,000 miles on this car. When I got it, it needed everything. The wheels were all flat spotted, so I got a premium wheel and tire package with Mastercraft tires and aluminum wheels, and new rack and pinion unit, a whole entire new subframe, rack and pinion, everything, all steering and I mean all steering and suspension components, even new sway bars. I put the heavy duty sway bars, the Hellwigs on here. Alright? And yet 18,000 miles down the road, my shocks and struts were shot. You know, and the tie rod end. And I'm having to replace everything one by one, so because there's all potholes and bumps everywhere. Anyway, this is the car. Hopefully after this, it ain't gonna give me no more trouble. I just changed the oil and everything. And that's it. PT Cruiser.